Idaho Matters podcast is brought to you by St. Luke's On-Demand Virtual Care, which allows patients to see a provider from their home using a computer or smartphone with on-demand care for common ailments such as a cough, sore throat, or a sinus issue. More information at stlukesonline.org. Idaho lost more than 2,000 farms over a 5-year period. Idaho Matters wants to know how that's impacting farmers, cities, and counties. Listen to our series on farming called Land and Legacy. Episodes available on Monday afternoons through November 17th in the Idaho Matters podcast feed. More Idaho Matters now from the studios of Boise State Public Radio News. I'm Gemma Gaudette. Every year, the city of Boise awards grants to groups and people who are creating projects that cultivate a distinct sense of place that reflects Boise's rich past and diverse communities. And this year, the Arts and History Grant Program gave out $120,000 for 44 cultural projects. And the money goes for everything from traditional African weaving workshops to Chinese dance to the Rap America Project, even to a local flute fest. So Mackenzie Dunstan is the city's grants and outreach programs manager, and she dropped by to talk about this year's projects, and we want to welcome her live to the show. Mackenzie, thanks so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So Mackenzie, tell us about the program. How long has it been going on?
Yeah, so we are in our 28th year. This grant program began in 1997, and actually when it started, it only had a budget of about $10,000. Over the years, that's grown incrementally, and since 2016, the program has maintained a steady annual budget of about $150,000 from the City of Boise's general fund.
So tell us what the mission is behind this program.
Yeah, I mean, you said it so beautifully before, but I'll summarize it. Really that the mission behind this grant program is to fund meaningful, creative, and cultural projects that are designed to benefit Boise residents. And they come from Boise residents to Boise residents. And it's really exciting to see that this program always brings people together, builds some really positive and wonderful relationships, provides some cool experiences, and that it ultimately uplifts the work of, not only the established creative and cultural orgs in our community, but also those emerging groups and individuals, all that make Boise unique.
So I mentioned you gave out $120,000 of grants.
Mm-hmm.
So how big are the grants, and how much do you give away every year? Is this fairly typical?
Yeah, so this year's a little unusual, but I'll start with how much we do award, because that does stay the same. So this program awards grants between $1,000 and $5,000 for individual projects and programs. That's remained really consistent over the years. We actually decided to sort of split up our annual funding. It's still $150,000, but we put $120,000 toward the annual grant program, and we're reserving about $30,000 for an America 250 specific grant.
So how do you pick who gets the grants? I mean, you must get more applications than you can fill.
That we do, yes. Yeah, I'm actually really excited to talk about the application review and selection process, maybe to demystify a little bit, especially for those who might one day want to apply. So we open the annual grant every year, typically in May. Applications are open for about 8 weeks. The City of Boise currently uses a platform called AmpliFund, which is an online grant application forum. And we have a very specific application where we ask questions about the details of the project, intended audience, budget, and of course, how a project or program might benefit or serve Boise residents. And then we work with a community review panel, typically made of 5 to 7 humans, and they come from all walks of life. We usually have an arts and history commissioner, local artist, former grant recipients serve on this panel, as well as other engaged community members, really who are bringing a diversity of perspectives and expertise to the review, and making sure that we are giving a fair and well-rounded evaluation of each application. I want to note that I just guide the process. I'm actually not a voting member, but I am here to support applicants in the process, and then of course the review panel in their process. They use a rubric that's been well established for many years, and we look at things like quality, community benefit, alignment to the city and the Department of Arts and History's vision and mission, accessibility, and not just physical accessibility. We're asking applicants to think about language access as well as cost accessibility. And then management of their project. We want to build confidence on the panel that a project is actually going to happen. There's a lot of great big ideas out there, but is there a plan?
Mm-hmm.
And so those are some of the things that we look for.
So, can you maybe talk about one or two of the grants that you will be giving out this next year?
Yeah, so all of our fiscal year 26 applicants or grantees have been awarded. They all know. And I do want to say that there are so many cool projects, it's hard to narrow it down to talking just about a few. But one, I know there's 44 of them out there, so there's a lot to look forward to.
There's a lot.
It's a lot, but a couple I'd like to highlight. One is they're actually a returning recipient, the African Community Development Group. So they offer traditional African basket weaving workshops for refugee women in Boise. They do a lot of other things beside just this one project, but I think it's so powerful that they are treating new arrivals to Boise, trying to find ways into community, culture sharing, and also some opportunities for economic growth. So there's that project is really exciting and is one that has been funded in the past. A new recipient this year is actually Global Gardens. They just wrapped up their first season of the West Bench Farmers Market, and they applied for this grant to bring performance to the market. So not just food vendors, but to bring local musicians, dancers, storytellers, and other cultural groups to the market to really add to the experience and highlight some of Boise's diversity. Those are just two out of so many. I could keep going, so let me know.
Okay. Well, so as you mentioned, you've already awarded all of the grants for this fiscal year. So, if someone is thinking about applying in the future, is it fairly easy? And can any organization apply?
Yeah, so we do focus on local individuals and organizations, so those that are in Boise and the Treasure Valley, working in any creative or cultural field. You can be an individual applying for a project. You don't have to have 501(c) status. You can even be a business. All those are eligible to apply. The big focus here is that the project needs to be really clear about how it is benefiting Boise residents, and it also has to take place within Boise city limits. But yeah, I would say I maybe ask the recipients if it's hard to apply. I think the application is really clear. There's a lot of support from me and the staff at the Department of Arts and History. So there's a ton of resources out there to make it as easy as possible to apply.
And we should mention that we're going to be bringing some of those grant recipients on the program over this next year. But if someone does want to find out more about the events itself, where can they find more information?
Yeah, so everything you need to know from the grant program, how to apply, or even how to support our current grant recipients at boiseartsandhistory.org.
Well, I want to thank you so much for taking time to talk with us today. Really neat to hear all about this, Mackenzie. So thank you so much. I know how busy you are at the city, so thanks for taking time for us.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for highlighting some of our grant recipients over the course this year. They will be able to speak about their projects the best. They are the ones out there doing the good work.
Yeah. Well, we're excited to have them on and to be able to highlight what they're doing here in the Treasure Valley. We've been talking with Mackenzie Dunstan. She is the City of Boise's Grants and Outreach Program Manager. We've been talking about the 2026 Arts and History Grant Program. And as I mentioned, we will be bringing some of those grant recipients on Idaho Matters over the next year so that all of us can learn about what they do and what they are doing with this grant money that they've been given. You've been listening to Idaho Matters from Boise State Public Radio. I'm Gemma Gaudet.
Sources and methods, the crown jewels of the intelligence community. Shorthand for how do we know what's real? Who told us? If you have those answers, you're on the inside, and NPR wants to bring you there. From the Pentagon to the State Department to spy agencies, listen to understand what's really happening and what it means for you. Sources and Methods, the new national security podcast from NPR.